Thursday phone in association with Leeds Spirits. I'm Matty and I'm joined tonight by several fantastic Hibs. Shay, you were first on tonight, so as is tradition now, I'm going to come to you first. And hold on a second. I've I've got lag. When you start going live, it starts playing on YouTube on the computer,
Mm.
but it's behind obviously, like for us. So I get in my ear what I was saying 10 seconds ago, and that's very off-putting. So I've muted that. Right. Anyway, hope you can still hear me. Shay, yeah, sorry. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not bad. It's like I said before we went live, I'm missing Hibs.
Aye.
Just when somebody supported during the Euros. But
Have you found the Euros so far?
I've not been watching much of it, but some of the football, like from the sort of bigger nations anyway, I've been absolutely dying, like England, and
Bonking.
like other countries. But I've been enjoying like the sort of like weird countries going through, so like Turkey and
Mm.
like Romania and all that, and like even Austria, like getting out of the group. So gutted to not see them go far. I like a wee underdog story, but it's
Did
other than that.
did you watch the Turkey Austria game?
No, I actually forgot. I think I was either busy or I completely forgot. But apparently it was like a really good game.
Aye, it was cracking. It's just there was a save right at the end, and everybody was kind of going on about it, and was having a couple of conversations about it. And kind of settled on you'd expect your keeper to make it. It looked good, but I don't
Yeah.
think it was as fantastic as everybody was making it. But maybe I'm being harsh on the boy. Anyway, Shay, you see you missing Hibs. What are you thinking about pre-season so far?
Two good results. Which is great. It's good to get everybody minutes, even the young guys. I think it'll be great. Obviously having David Gray in, you'll know obviously I'm knowing the players, getting to see who now that everybody's sort of playing, you've got to see like who's going to be his plans and who's going to offload, so then you can then buy in.
Hmm. Who are you thinking that we might be looking to offload, Shay? Do you reckon?
I seen a tweet of Ewan Henderson is linked with I think it was a club he was on loan with.
It was
So I think
Beershot in Belgium.
yeah, so I think he might be one of the first, and well, say one of the first, one of the sort of bigger names that might go and get money from. So can't think of anybody else. I think
And
somebody else is needed.
and in terms of like the players we've brought in, I know we were kind of in a wee chat before we started. What do you think of the signings we've made so far? So a goalie, two centre halves.
Good. There's positions I feel we've needed. Obviously, like David Marshall retiring, then Fish and Hamlin leaving as well. So we've brought in positions we've needed. So I think now it just do the same positions that we feel like we need. Like I think we need maybe like another spare striker. I can't think of anybody that's had out and out number 9 other than Venti.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe like another one, either bought or through the academy, just to make up the numbers.
Do you think we need another keeper? There was a bit of chat about Walcott being on his way out, but there doesn't seem to be any movement there. But if he goes, do you think we would need another one in to replace him, Shay?
Potentially, if we're going off the sort of 3-man goalie sort of squad, so it'd be great just to have just in case like all it takes is like one to get injured. Then you've got no backup goalie unless we bring a inexperienced 16, 17-year-old to sit on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
But at Walcott stage, I'm quite happy with the sort of options we've got. But if it goes, I think we just need to recruit well when needed.
And how are you feeling for the season coming up now? You start to get excited, optimistic. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
I am a little bit. After seeing the first home game, not to be a negative, but seeing Celtic at home was like I'm always scared of like champions of Scotland. It's like because they're like the best team in the country, so it's like right, okay, we need to step up our game a bit. But I'm buzzing for the derbies. Like one of them lands on my birthday, so it's like I think it's the second home derby, and like it's the 1st of March, and that's my birthday. So I was like, nice celebrating my birthday and watching him get pumped. It's like
Nah,
great.
you win it. You win it once on your birthday. That's how it works. That's the rule. So
Well, that's the
that's a
thing.
good
It's like
omen for us, Shay.
my first ever derby. We actually won. So I think it was the Jamie McLaren Scott Allen one. So I thought maybe every time I go, we'll maybe win. But I think I'm a curse. because I can't remember the last time we won at home.
Every Hibby thinks they're a curse with the derby. Eh? That's just
Aye,
everybody's got a good record with it.
I'm not
Very
totally
few folk. Cheers, I'm going to bring James in next. James, how are you doing?
I'm good, Matt. Yourself?
Good. You've been enjoying a couple of weeks off Hibs?
No.
No.
Missed it. It's worse than anything. And I've not been watching the Euros because I've got this feeling that England are going to win. They just do their Greece. They're playing dreadful. They're just going to sneak a few results. That's all it's going to take.
There's no danger. As soon as they meet a good team, they're done for. They've stunk the tournament out. I thought they were actually
dreadful.
Worse than us.
They've just managed to get the wins. So. But I don't see any other teams, as Shay touched on, the big teams are really doing it yet. But once we get to the sharp end, maybe they'll turn it up. But I never usually watch it until England have gone out, so I might never see a game this whole tournament.
Well, I think it's a wee bit unfortunate that Spain and Germany have got to play each other because they've looked the best two teams by far. Yeah. So far, I think Spain will probably win it, although home advantage can obviously play a part. What were you want to talk about tonight, James, about the Hibs?
Just for Hibs, just on Shea with his birthday and the games around about his birthday. I always follow an international weekend, October, and I used to follow Scotland, and I just felt I was a curse. So every October the 12th, we always seem to lose. So
it's like we picked the wrong teams, eh?
I know. Well, Hibs never play on the October 12th now, so I think we're pretty well safe that Hibs might be fine. No, I'm just looking at the squad. I'm still feeling optimistic. I'm excited with the league starting, League Cup. I mean, I've got my Elgin ticket and my Peterhead ticket. I can't wait till it starts. But at the moment, it's still need more players. I can just upgrade the class. I mean, there's talk of Simon Murray coming back, which if it gets somebody younger with that amount of effort, we could love that. But the boy's 32, doesn't sound old in your 50s, but I think we just need a wee bit better, a wee bit younger, but with that attitude. And I think that's what the scouting guys need to kind of find. But again, I think we're all looking for that. So not optimistic, but I can't wait to get started. Just get up to Elgin, get a win. I want to take this League Cup serious because last time we were in it, we didn't, and it was embarrassing. I want to get into these 4 games and I want to get them pumped. Especially Kelly Hearts, just because I got Hearts in the name. I don't dislike him or anything like that. Just I've got a Hearts in the title, just get them pumped.
But what are your expectations for the League Cup? Do you think that we're going to do well in it, or do you think there are potential banana skins there for us?
In the group stages, I think we should breeze that. In Queen's Park, you just never know. They're a championship side. They have a wee bit of money kind of thrown at them. It might be organised, but again, they are a lower championship side last year. We should be taking care of them, especially at home. So I think we should be top of that group quite easily. And for the League Cup, if the confidence gets up, I mean, I know Shay said we've got the Celtic first home game, but if we get the confidence up, there's no stopping us really. Our lucky draw, we could semi-finals again should be a target, and if they get more players in, why not just go for it? I mean, it's one of the 2 tournaments you can win, really.
I think it's a good point you make about the confidence, and obviously the League Cup's or the group stages isn't a competition you want to be in because you want to be in Europe, but it does give us a chance to build up a wee bit of momentum and a wee head of steam. If we get some good results, I quite fancy us to do it, James. I think it feels like the team are moving in the right direction. I can't remember who it was that tweeted earlier on, but they said Hibs seem to be doing a lot of sensible things at the moment. It was on the back, I think, Malcolm Mackay's interview. Just like there's a bit of structure and a bit of rationale behind the stuff that's going on, and that gives me a fair bit of confidence. What have you made of the signings so far, James?
I'm trying to give Hibs a credit because I have no idea about any of the 3 of them. It's the positions we need sorted, as Shay touched on. It's the positions we need sorted. But as for their record, I mean, they're coming from lower League England. One of them's from League 2, is it? And the last game, the last 2 legs lost 8-1 in the playoff semis. So it's a bit like, why we send a defender for a team that level? Another one, I'm not even trying to pronounce his name, is from Blackpool Championship. Quite decent. Goalkeeper, know nothing about. So I'm holding my hands up and guessing. But it's the positions we need. Going to trust the process. And I'm trying not to play too much on a track record of buying lower league players, or lower English league players. So, and then you say David Gray came from Burton, see how that turned out. So you never know.
That's it. I mean, we have unearthed some gems before. I quite like the sort of the physical attributes that they both come with, and less so the goalkeeper. I think the goalkeeper, he's a good height, etc., which always gets mentioned with goalies, and still like a decent age. But the two centre halves, big lad is, and Ekpiteta is. As somebody on Hibsnet, and I wish I could remember who posted it, said we need to name him Jack, so it'd be like Jack Potato, which was just superb. Like
I thought we were going with that when you said the pronunciation.
I,
Potato. Yeah, jacket potato.
Potato, I think his surname is. So, I like look at him. I was trying to kind of get a decent watch on the highlights that Hibs had put up of the game against Duisburg yesterday.
Never offside.
He was never offside. Venny was that was a perfectly good goal. I'm already it's the second game into pre-season. I'm already moaning about referees. This doesn't bode well for the season.
If it's the foreign referees though, we don't want any of them.
Nah, nobody out drawing lines in the pitch or anything like that. Charlie, I'm going to come to you next. Thanks, James. What have you got for us tonight, Charlie?
Well, the away kit's just been announced as coming out tomorrow, so that's a wee
All right.
breaking bit of news, and it's white by the looks of it. So that's all I've got for you, Matty. Thanks for having me on.
That was it. No bother.
No, I'm joking. No, I think when the season ended, I was like, I'm so glad it's over. But now, see, like scoring 6 goals in 2 games and 2 clean sheets, I'm like, bring the Hibs back properly. I'm absolutely buzzing for the season to start now, and that might be, I don't know. I've not any based that on after last season, but I think just really excited. I'm going up to Kelty. It's a ground I've not been to, so looking forward to ticking that off. But I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's got all the makings so far of a decent transfer window, and hopefully we can continue to build on that and bring in more positions that we need to fill.
What would you like to see in terms of incomings?
Hard bastard in the middle of the park. I think we're lacking that. I think Mariah Welsh has got the makings of that, but I think we need someone. I think Joe Newell can go hiding a wee bit sometimes. So I'd like someone with a wee bit grit and steel in the midfield, and then another striker. I think. Obviously, it looks like as we're speaking just now, Yuan and Boyle are staying. So I think I'm happy with them. So I think we need a midfielder and a striker, and probably a left back. I think we've only got a beat because McIntyre went on loan. So I think we probably need one of them. But no, I think the squad's taking shape. I don't think we need that many, to be honest. I think the positions we've brought in we've strengthened, and I think we're looking good. So happy enough.
Would you have expected us to have maybe spent a bit more money by now, based on the kind of the noises that were made around the investment at the turn of the year?
I don't know. Have we paid a fee for anyone yet? I have no idea.
It's been the keeper's on loan, and the 2 centre halves I think were free.
Well, I mean, you're hoping that we can spend a wee bit of cash, but I think it might also depend on what happens with Yuan. Like if we're getting what we're hoping for, was it 3 million I seen quoted? If we get that, I don't think we will, but if we get close to that, then we've got money to spend. But you're right, Mai, we were promised money to spend, and the other month there it was David Gray's transfer budget's been increased with the new shares. So, and to be fair, I think that it's unfair to no mention that the transfer window's just opened. So,
Correct.
And it's still open for a long time. So I think people are probably jumping on, and I've done it as well. Matty, you'll know you're in the same group chat as me. I complained that we've not signed anyone, and then we signed 3 players that week. So I think as football fans in general, we all jump the gun a wee bit. But no, I think we will spend. I think we have to, and I think we will.
I think it's I quite like the thought that we're keeping it back for some like key positions, and there's going to be like a rabbit out the hat type signing where we all go, fucking hell, how have we done that? Like that's kind of what I'm hoping for this summer. I like how realistic that is. Charlie, your thoughts on the group stages in for the League Cup, because we're not far away for that. How do you think we're going to fare in that?
Well, I hope it's better than the last time we were in the League Cup group stages. Just when Streaky Lee joined. So I'm hoping we get, because the League Cup final's on my birthday this year, December 15th. So talking about birthdays, I hope that we get to that stage, because that would be a class birthday. But no, I think looking at the group stages, we need to go in with the expectation that we're topping that group, and we need to give them all a good hammering. I think we can't be scraping 1-0s or 2-1s. I think we need, and that's no disrespect to the other teams in the group, but I think because we are the team in the Premier League, we should be aiming to be 3-0, 4-0, big score lines, especially for David Gray, because I think if we can get a bit of confidence, like James said, then we go into that first game against St Mirren, we've already been unbeaten in our group, and it gives us a lot of confidence. So I'm hoping for big results.
I think I took a little bit of heart in that respect for the game against Edinburgh City on Saturday. The fact that we were kind of comfortable by half time, but kept pushing for goals in the second half. And although we got a couple, we hit the post at the bar. I think we hit the post twice in the bar. So obviously never took the foot off the gas, and that's in the very first friendly. So I think the way that David Gray is, I think he'll be looking for us to kind of keep the foot on the team's throats.
Do you think you were more excited because McCurdy scored his first goal, or was it just in general?
It's a good question. It was just the fact that we're back, but it's funny because when we talked about it on Sunday on Longbangers, I was like, "Oh, it's the goal of the game," and then John was like, "Nah, McAllister's was it McAllister scored?" Or actually Josh Campbell's as well. And when you look at them, both of those goals were cracking as well as McCurdy's. So it was good to see him get on the score sheet. But I noticed they hadn't played. They were sort of managing his fitness or his health or his workload or something, which is why I never played yesterday. So hopefully he plays in the next friendly against Pauk.
Hope so.
It is Pauk. Me and Shay were talking about this before. It's all capital letters. It's confusing. The PAOK. I like on the telly they called it Pauk, so I'm going with that. But as I said to Shay, nobody calls it PSV Eindhoven. It's like PSV, and they're all capital letters. So I don't know what to think. Anyway, right, I'm rambling. Ian.
Well, I made it to the Edinburgh City game because I can read.
Yep.
And which I thought was quite funny. Although I did actually at the last minute in the morning check, but I pretty much can read. So, and I bought a ticket in advance, so I actually said when I called. I use something called a diary actually in my calendar on my phone. It works.
Thanks, Ian.
Really,
Tracy.
Right. So, but there were some really interesting points on More Art and Science on 271. I thought I really enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it. Some of the points you were making. I mean, some of the things you were talking about, like Malky stressing to Warren O'Hara about Ireland, and then I thought it was a bit strange. I thought that's not something you can imagine somebody at Hibs doing to a player. It would only be from an ex-Celtic player that would do that, And but also you made a very good point, and it's the first time we've really thought about David Marshall, other than it just so happens that David Marshall's available. Let's hold on to him. But you made the point about holding on to a good member of staff, and I like when you use analogies from business like that, because you're right. If he's a trusted member of staff, you didn't want to lose him. So I thought these points with you just Colin and John talking, I thought they were really good. When Malky was appointed, I remember I made it clear at the time I thought it was a real lack of ambition, because I thought at the time with the Black Knights I thought we'd be aiming much higher than that. But Tracy got me listening more seriously about David Gray. And now that we've got some interviews with David and the points you were making on More Art and Science as well about things like how he distinguishes between cross county home and away and things like that, and how the point you were making about. You really highlighted the interview, which I'd heard, but I obviously didn't listen properly. But you were making the point about the fact that we should be aiming to win every game. He said that, and also there's no single way to play, which I thought was great. And I've got a lot more confidence in David than I've had of any head coach recently. I really have. Now that we've got some interviews and stuff, and I like him. He's tough as hell. But I want to have less of Malky talking about football, because obviously all of the signings have so far said I spoke to Malky, but I want to have less of Malky talking about football. because I didn't think he was a very good football player, and I didn't think he was a very good coach. But he might be very good in his role. But why is he at the training camp? Why is he even at the training camp? There should be players and coaches there. You know, I thought it was quite interesting. The point I think I put on the Facebook the Facebook page when they had the video. I didn't understand why they've got a table, a wee table card on the table that said players. It's not presumed they've got another table that says coaches. So why would you not sit them down together? That's mental, you know. In modern business, you would never separate people like that. Anyway, I want to just less people. Malky talking less about football, and but whatever happened to the review? What happened to the review? What was the outcome? Where is the report? Was it just to get rid of Monty and McDermott? Was that the reason? Was it why? We never heard more about it. But like James, I've got all the tickets, and I'm certainly looking forward to the games. And I think we've signed everyone we said we needed. You know, I mean, we're focused completely on the centre backs. So the fact that they've actually gone out and got two who seem to be both leaders and both proven professionals, I think that's good. So I think Simon Murray was playing brilliantly last year. I don't think it matters what age he is. We're only looking for 2 years from him or whatever. But for the same reason that Shanklin should have been playing for Scotland because he was in a rich vein of form, we should be signing Simon Murray when he's in a rich vein of form. Because unfortunately, Dylan just didn't really look like somebody who's going to score 20 goals. But maybe he will. But as far as offloading players are concerned, I'm hoping David will be in a less of a hurry to get rid of them and be more willing to give people a chance. Guys like Riley Harbottle, it was only in the City. They was really good. And the final point I want to make, I don't know if Tracy's noticed it, but I mean, we might well have all noticed the incredibly sexy picture of Jordan Obita and sort of beefcake picture on the website in the swimming pool. So he looks, he's a good-looking guy anyway, which is why I got my picture taken with him at his first event. But he looks he's like, why is this here? You know, if that was a female player, you would say, look at that. She's just a sex object. Well, that's the way he's portrayed. And finally, I wrote to Lewis at Race Rovers, and I told him what he needs to work on. So hopefully he's read it.
I think we know where to start. Well, all right, Ian. Fantastic. You talk about Obita in the ice bath in the pictures for this evening.
Ice bath, is that what he's in?
I think they're in it because there's a few of them there. Boyle was there, and Lewis Miller, and there's a few different pictures of the players. If anybody's want to find them, just on
it looks like a swimming pool to me, and it just looks like this picture is to sell something. You know, have a look at it. Gallery.
As good as Marvin the wheelie bin.
I've got a brilliant picture of Marvin. Marvin's a really good-looking guy, but Jordan's smile was just a killer, you know. So, I mean, my daughter loved Marvin, but he's something else, you know.
And you comment on your top. It's a cracker. I have that vintage in the room somewhere over in the corner. We talk about Derby wins earlier on. If ever there was a top associated with a Derby win, it's that one. It's one of the best Hibs tops that we've ever had. Although very heavy material, wasn't it? Like it's no the most comfortable top to wear.
I like it actually. I like it, but I actually bought this. I mentioned before I lived in New Jersey for 11 years, and I came over for the Celtic final where we got, was it 3-1 or 3-1 or 3-0? I can't remember. It was 2000 and something. And of course I wasn't at the 6-2 game, but I saw it in the telly. But so when I came over from New Jersey, I didn't have a stick, so I bought a stick literally outside the ground. And I used to play five-a-side football when I worked in Cardiff. I worked in Cardiff, five-a-side football every Monday. And I'm colourblind, so of course there's another Ian who is a Manchester United supporter who is also colourblind, and he thought this was a Liverpool top.
Of course, we'll have the Carlsberg. Liverpool would have been Carlsberg would have been that time as well. One of the best games ever, that one. Thanks, Ian. I will come back to you now. Somebody please remind me before we hang up, right, on Saturday last week, I went on Twitter and said, if you've got any talking points for us, fire them in and we'll cover them on the podcast. And of course, we did the podcast. I did my usual and completely forgot about them. So all these people had sent in sort of well thought out and considered questions to be asked and I completely missed them all. So I said, well, I'll ask you guys because we'll get a better answer out of you than about Colin and John anyway. Right, while I'm finding them, Tracy, how are you doing and what have you got for us tonight?
I'm doing all right. I'm not quite sure which picture it was of Jordan, but his wife's very lucky, that's for sure. We've got some good looking lads in there. Yeah, just really excited for the season ahead. I just think Dave just brings something so much different and something that I think we've needed in a long time. Just like the way he talks in his interviews, just like Ian was saying, it's we've got to play different for every game, which I like that because obviously that's been a big thing the last couple of years that managers really haven't had like a plan B. We're sticking to the same formations. So the fact that they're actually, he's going to take every game as it comes, that's great. Because obviously we've got quite a lot of physical games in our league as well. It's not all about the nice football, unless you're really playing Celtic, Rangers, Hearts. Sometimes you get it a little bit with Aberdeen. But most of the other teams are pretty physical. And I think he's bought that way as well. He's brought in players that seem to have a little bit of grit. They're leaders. Got a good dig, and I think they're more physical as well, which I think will really be good in our league.
What have you made of the stuff that David Gray's had to say? Like, have you managed to catch his interviews, etc.?
Yeah, I could just listen to him all day, just talk sense. It's all about basics, going back to basics as well. There's none of this fancy nonsense and the rest of it. It's just playing football. And that's what I love about him. He's just in his street talking, and I just feel he does restore that bit of pride again in the club, just with what he says.
Yeah, how do you think Hibs are going to look under him? Like, what are you expecting to see for his team?
I think he'll probably I think we'll have to be patient. I think I mentioned that during the weekend, as somebody said, our fans are very patient. So I think we will need to be patient because we've got to let him find his feet, but I know that he'll give it 110%. I think we'll get through the group stages, no problem. Whether it's great football we're playing or what, I don't care as long as we get out the group stages. As I said, the last time I see us been in the top 6 anyway, but I don't know, I just have this vision of a cup. So I'm manifesting it.
Good. Which cup are you going for? Like, if you're going to, it could be the.
I kind of feel we've not had the League Cup for such a long time now, so let's go for that. Let's start off easy, and then we can do a double next season. So we'll build up to it.
That sounds reasonable. And we were talking about like players coming in and leaving potentially. What sort of movement would you like to see for the squads coming up?
I just think the players look a wee bit different under Dave as well. So obviously they'll have given them all a clean slate. But we do still have a bloated squad, so we're going to have to move players on. I don't know, I always felt like we had more of a bloated midfield, but when you actually looked at a lot of the players, I don't know if we're going to add there. Obviously, Jake Hayes didn't go through illness to the training camp, which is a bit disappointing because I like Jake. I think he's got a little bit of a dig about him as well in that midfield. I know everybody's got different opinions, but I think, if we can get him through unscathed for a season, I think he'll be really good for us. I don't know. I don't know if Ellie will stay or not. I'd love to see him stay. I think he's a really good player for us, and I'm glad Martin's now come out and said that he's staying. Because he's really important for us, and I think under Dave he will just get better. I don't think he was maybe in a good place just with all the injuries, but I think Dave will help him. Obviously, if we get money for Ellie, if he does go, I can't imagine that coming in as a one. People tend to pay up these days.
Yeah.
So it might be a wee clear pay or Klarna transaction. Oh.
There we go. Thanks, Ian.
Really wasn't expecting that.
This is Ian's work. I I wanted to ask you about Boyle, Tracy. So one of the things that David Gray said in his first press conference, so the one that they did last week with the press before he did the sort of individual interviews, he talked about Martin Boyle sort of needing a leadership role at the club. He talked about Paul and Lewis moving on, Marshall moving on, and not having that sort of natural leadership in the dressing room. And he was looking for Boyle to almost pick up the baton there. He made Boyle captain for first or the second half against Duisburg, I think. And there's been a wee bit of talk there. Do you think this is going to be like the sort of the making of Martin Boyle? Is getting this extra responsibility, and do you think he's the sort of person that will step up to it?
Yeah, I do. I think he's just at that age now. You know, he'll always have the silliness, and I would hate for him to lose that because that's just what makes Martin Martin. And you need that as well in a dressing room. But yeah, no, I think he'll step up to the mark. I like Josh Campbell's comments as well when he got handed the armband.
Yeah.
You know, Dave's putting a lot of trust into these players. He obviously, you know, thinks highly of them. I like Joe. Joe's just, I know a lot of people seem to be a bit divisive on him, but you know, as a human being, he's just like one of the best people you would ever want to have around. And I think in a dressing room, just having somebody that's that level-headed and, you know, that I think he's a good leader. Like a lot of people, like obviously there was the comments about Paul Hanlon, but people don't see the stuff that they do away from the pitch as well. And the things that they do as captain. And that's not just like handing out tickets and the rest of it, but they do step up to the mark. And I think Joe would be a good captain. If Boyler's maybe vice captain, you know, I wouldn't see that as a bad thing either. I think he will step up. I think he's in a much better place. He seems a lot happier. Just even listening to Malky's interview today, I quite enjoyed that, you know, just the way he was talking about like the backroom staff, the environment. It seems to be a kind of safe space now that people, you know, shouldn't be afraid to speak up if there's something they want to say, that it won't affect them. And I think that's really important as well, that they have that space and that environment. So I think things can only get better from there.
But I totally agree with it. A really interesting interview with Malky today. And you'll see that on like the Hibs YouTube channel that they've got. I think it might be on Spotify as well. But like you say, talking about that, the safe space, he actually referenced somebody kind of snapping at, like a senior member of staff snapping at a player somewhere previously, and it wasn't clear whether that was something he'd heard had happened at Hibs or whether it was at another club that he'd been at. But he talked about how that had a big impact, and the need for the coaching staff to be almost like always switched on it, like they can't afford to let that slip. But really, really interesting. I like the discussion around the different characters that they brought in, as I did when Adam was talking to David Gray about it in his Hibs TV interview. He kind of spent a bit of time talking about the background team, and I thought it was really good, really useful exercise for Hibs to do that, because well, we definitely talked about it. You're like, you know, it's all guys that have been around the club. There's nothing new here, and so getting that insight into here's what they bring to the party is really good. I really enjoyed it.
Well, definitely. I think it's good. I mean, I don't know who he was referring to with the snapping or that, but I think just in any workplace, you know, you should be able to speak up or raise stuff without, you know, having any kind of backlash for it. Because at the end of the day, if you're bringing it up, it's something that needs to be discussed. It needs to be brought to somebody's attention. So yeah, no, I'm glad that they're doing that and they've got that environment. So it sounds like it's a really good place at the training centre, and it seems like it's a really good close-knit environment as well.
Aye, it's boding well. Thanks, Chase. I'm going to bring in John next. John, how are you doing?
Not too bad. My technology's not quite as good as Ian, so I just have to flash it up as a backdrop rather than on the whole screen. In terms of the new strip that's been tweeted out by Hibs, in terms of that's the badge that they've put up. No,
is this what it is? Is this from the strip? Is it?
That's the tee that's been tweeted out
Ah, right, right. So what's it?
which
I'm
is why
just trying
everybody's saying
to.
it's quite. There seems to be like a design through it that seems to be there on quite a lot of the modern strips where there's sort of a highlight through it. So white seems to be the suggestion. If I'm honest, I would be quite I'd be quite disappointed if they brought the white strip out this season, given our first strip back in 1875 was a white strip, and I'd thought keeping the white strip till next year would be the right thing to do. I don't say that because I'm trying to be mega critical. I just wonder whether someone's got the idea that they're going to cover the hoop strip with the HFC on it, because that was the second strip before
It's
we
a
moved
year
to
out.
the all green.
Aye.
No, I mean, and so I don't know, and clearly can still do a white strip next year if they want, but sorry, that's me just maybe being overly pedantic. It'll look good, and hopefully they're winning it. No, I thought that there was probably slightly too long in the club getting an interview out for Gray. I mean, I think Charlie mentioned it last week. There was quite a lot of tension building in the support. The three signings were for positions that talked about. This would be window number 7 if they hadn't signed 2 centre backs. You know what I mean? So that was getting to that stage where you suspect that they knew that going into it. But it also seems that the media team have a plan. I mean, so you go from last Thursday where they have the media out at East Mains, similar to yourself, you mentioned at the pod. I tried to catch the live stream, which was variable. Clearly, very chatty at the beginning with each other, and all that sort of side of it shouldn't have really been going out. But that set the scene in terms of where they are. Good production that's coming from across in Holland. We're just doing the little things right. We don't know how we're going to perform against Elgin. We expect it to be a team that's been trained hard, knows what the attitude's right. We've got enough talent there just now that we should be able to go to Elgin and win. I've got the tickets. Texting with the laddie as to where we're going in for our lunch. I mean, we're getting those sort of things sorted. So that little bit of buzz about going back to the football is coming. But I'm curious as to what the team's going to look like on the first day of the season as opposed to the League Cup, because I think they'll be different. I mean, I think there's about 58, 59 days left of the transfer window. I mean, we're gradually getting our business done. And I think that it's that space. There's a bit of momentum built with the training camp this week. I think fans will be looking for a bit of movement in the squad next week. So, I mean, Bevan has been talked about, so whether that would be the time when they would drop Bevan in. And so it's almost as if the comms team are starting to understand that there's a bit of pacing and requirement here in terms of sort of getting the fans on side. So by going into the games that we've got in the League Cup, we should have enough in the building at the moment. But that 4-week period is what they should be building in terms of the league. And again, the concern that will sit in the back of a lot of Hibs fans is, we don't need signing somebody on the 30th of August means we've missed the first 4 league games and potentially a quarter final of the League Cup. I mean, which we should be expected to get. And getting through 4 wins, 12 points, seeded in the next round has to be the standard as well. So it's not being greedy. I mean, we got ourselves into this position by not getting into Europe. You know what I mean? So the club have to realise the expectation. This is no League Cups are easy, but this is as straightforward a group as we could have asked for.
Yeah.
In terms of going in. So I think it's nice to say everything's looking good, but that's where you come back and you listen to Gray. I don't think David Gray is going into this like Heckenbottom did when he went up to Stirling, like Johnson did when he went to Falkirk. I mean, David Gray is the man who has fought hard at Forfar and got the last minute goal for us to get the win. I mean, when we're all watching on that stupid camera that was moving back and forward. I mean, but he's been there. So in terms of that lived experience, in terms of how hard these games can be, that's what you're saying you're taking. So you're listening to him and you're getting that right. But Ian's point about Malcolm Mackay having to do that homework Simpson and just drift back into the bushes. Yeah. I mean, you've got somebody running the team. We don't need to hear from you all the time. The fact that the players up to now have been saying they've spoken to him, yeah, I can live with that. There was a period of time where he was sort of doing 2 or 3 jobs at the same time and getting those players in early was okay. From now on, I'm expecting a lot more to be about conversations with the manager. Malcolm Mackay's got a lot of work to do in the background, him and David Marshall. I mean, in terms of managing the people in the background, getting the department sorted out. I'd like to think the review is still ongoing. I mean, and I'd like to have thought that Malcolm Mackay has actually picked it up. I mean, and there will be changes put in place in the background in terms of how he sees things going, supporting the right staff, getting the right investment in the right places. I mean, so that should be just getting done. But the club's columns have gone very, very football. They're not overly boasting about things. Steve Thomas is clearly worth the follow on Twitter in terms of updates on the pitch. I mean,
Definitely,
the effort that guy's putting in, I mean, it's brilliant. I saw his update today. I mean, it's that whole idea. It's only a pitch, but it just gets you back into that feeling.
Never only a pitch though when it's Easter Road, is it? Like there's
I know.
something special about it.
I thought it was really sad. You see the end of last season that they'd actually done that sort of tartan pattern over it. But they then had to cut it away for the last league game because clearly there must be limits as to what they're allowed to do with the pitch now.
Aye, it's boring, eh? Should be allowed to kind of get creative with it. I suppose it's maybe to stop advertising and that, eh? But I'm surprised if they started that. Or maybe they have, and that's why they didn't do it. It'll be the next thing.
It's well, that was the thing is, I mean, there was a point where everybody was getting really creative, but no, I think that they're getting a lot of the simple things right, as I talked about a few weeks ago, and just keep doing. I mean, the squad needs managed. I've not seen any of the players play. The stuff that I've seen in terms of the highlights seems fine. I love the big slidey tackle in a friendly. I think it was Miller that did that one. I mean, it's that whole idea. There seemed to be a bit of bite in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're looking at it against Pout. That's going to be a bit like taking on Bournemouth last year. I mean, scoring ain't going to matter at all. I mean, and I just hope that there's nobody looking on thinking, "Oh, if we get beat by them, then that's us on and down." This is pre-season. Colin calls it perfectly. This is about minutes in the legs, players getting out there, attitude tests, showing the manager what you can do.
And in terms of players coming in, John, what you mentioned there, like we've got enough in the building for the League Cup. I don't know if that's a dangerous attitude, or if you're spot on, you know. But where else do we need to strengthen?
The David Gray factor's allowing me to say that in the sense that I think that there's an attitude that he will bring to that group of players. You know what I mean? In terms of how they will go about the business.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's the reason for it. I thought Triantis towards the end of the last season was coming on to a better game in that midfield position. Our league had lots of big, tall players, so at set pieces we need height in the team. We don't necessarily have a lot of height in the midfield. Again, I couldn't tell you how tall Amos is, but it's that sort of idea of the Matty Jack position, as everybody calls it now. You know what I mean? But it's that sort of the Triantis has done it. We tried to do it with Porteous for a while, but they really work. But it's that sort of stronger ball winner, and it's sort of like the one in front of the four.
Yeah.
I mean, without playing a third centre back, that's the position I think I want us to be looking at next over the next couple of weeks. I don't think if a good striker comes along and is available, you're always going to take them whenever that's available. With Johan, Boyle, and Venti here over the next couple of weeks, hopefully, that's where I think we've got enough. But that's what I'm saying. I think by the time we get to the start of heading through to Paisley on the first day of the season, we're expecting a few more in the door.
I think it's important we do. James, you had your hand up momentarily there, and sorry, I missed it at the time. What do you want to come in with?
No, I just didn't want to interrupt Jordan's flow. It was good points. Just on the attire, I don't know if you've seen the pre-match gear that they've kind of been wearing over in Holland. With the kind of green fading into the white. I think that looks pretty classy, and I think that'll sell by the bucket load again. I know, because I know last time we spoke, I kind of slated the strip. It was a bit boring, but they're definitely going to get a few pennies off me for that. I mean, I really do like that. And if it's pure white, I know next year will be great, but it just gets the excitement up a wee bit higher again.
Yeah, I think they're quite smart. I was sad to see the back of the third strip for last season and the warm-up tops that they came out. I thought they were smashing like last season. Just thought we really looked the part in them. So a bit sad to see them go, but I quite like the new stuff as well. Ian, I was actually I was going to ask you a question because I know this is something that you're quite passionate about, is the job titles and who does what at the football club. So we have a head coach and not a manager, and he's got 3 assistant coaches in now. We've got a sporting director. We've got a technical performance manager. How are you feeling about the setup and the job titles that we've got at the club just now, Ian? And you're on mute, by the way, just if you come off.
Sorry about that. I was quite interested when you were talking. I think it might have even been on extra time. How the job title, one of the job titles that Malky mentioned was technical performance director, right? And of course, we've got technical performance manager, David Marshall. So obviously, he doesn't make it to the director stage. And it was funny because Malky Mackay was actually talking about performance director at the same level as being director of football. When he was talking about it, if you listen to his interview, that's what he says. You know. Mm-hmm. So I mean, certainly as far as the coaching is concerned. So when I was coaching, I had myself, 2 assistant coaches, a goalkeeper coach, and I had a specialist professional coach who coached our teams once a week. So I took there were 3 training sessions a week in youth in America, and I was at them all. But a big English guy who was really, really good. He took one of the sessions completely on his own. But it was from my curriculum. So I worked the curriculum for the year with this guy, Nigel. And we worked out at the beginning of the year and we stuck to it. So this is how the players are going to, this is what the players are going to develop skills in. Obviously, 2 of the technical, tactical, and physical sessions, right? And we followed the Beckenbauer the way he divided up the game, and so things like decision making. So we had all these different things that the players had to develop skills in, and unlike David, we weren't trying to win every game because, and I think that was the point that David made, and the point I think you made on it, because youth football is completely different. Youth football, you're trying to develop skills, you're trying to develop the players as individuals, you're trying to develop their decision making. You're trying to give them responsibility. I could probably, in Martin Boyle's case, it's maybe a bit late, but it's enthusiastic. It's the sort of thing that I might have done when I was a bit less experienced. Give the daftest players some responsibility. But I think Josh Campbell is a definite one for the future as far as that's concerned. But as long as it's, and David made this quite clear, as you say, he's the head coach and he's got assistant coaches, and he regards them as all coming, and you again. This is why I thought the specific what was it? What not science? What was that again?
More art than science.
More art than science. Yeah, more art than science. I thought that was a particularly good session that you had, because you were making the point that David was emphasising the people's strengths and weaknesses, and of course that is something that you have to accept. People do have weaknesses. But you have to be very honest about it and say, this is why we're asking hard to do this, or why we're asking him to do that. And so I thought it was great. I really got the feeling that maybe had been invisible to me, but not invisible to Tracy, because I didn't know much about David as an individual. And so I'm very, very encouraged with that. So as long as we've got the assistant coaches in place, I would like to see a specific roles, if you like. When you have assistant coaches who are perhaps all equal, you want some of them to be focused on, the decision made to either man mark or zone mark at corners, etc. These sort of things. You definitely want to see someone who's developing attacking corners, but equally, individuals have to have their own development. So. Individuals have to be taken aside and assigned a specific mentor or coach who says to them, look, Lewis Miller, you have to stop getting booked as much. You have to do this instead of that. What do you think is the best way of getting that done? and building the individual's confidence. So that's what coaching is all about: is technique, tactics, systems of play, fitness, decision making, individual decision making, but also the emphasis on the motivation of the players, and that's something that Lee Johnson and so obviously Monty just didn't have. He didn't motivate the players. Neil Lennon was the other way around. Neil Lennon was all about motivation, and it was all over the place in some other ways. But I'm comfortable now that David Gray's in place. In answer to your question, but I was quite good that we had agreement on that Malky should maybe just take a bit more of a back seat on the football just now.
Cool. Thank you. Right, I'm going to go to talking points. We've got about 5 minutes left, I think. Right. So, first one. This is what prompted the request for talking points. It's for Neil Renton. It says, any positive Hibs predictions for the new season? He reckons a fully fit Josh Campbell was going to be different class, like a prime Pat McGinley. Shay, I'll come to you first. You got any positive Hibs predictions for the new season?
I think Venti will kick on. I think that's one of my ones. I think he'll get I think he'll be up there with top scores in the league. I think if we build around him, sort of like we can like get him the service in midfield instead of him being the midfield. I think Josh Campbell will kick on as well. I think it's just like the players that have sort of like they've not been great, but like they've shown that they can be. So like Josh Campbell, Venti, like Doyle Hayes, he's showed that he can be, but he's unfortunate with injuries. But I think we'll just I think my whole prediction is the team will be great. Fingers crossed.
Take that one. Charlie, same question to you. Positive Hibs prediction?
David Gray will be in charge the whole season. Does that count based on what we've seen the past couple of years?
That counts, definitely. We'll take that. It's funny. One of my mates was I'll go too much into it, but was doing something it's not going to come out for a few weeks, and I said, "So we'll have a new manager by then. It's all be irrelevant." So, if David Gray lasted the season, would definitely be a positive. On the Josh Campbell, Charlie, he there's a cracking interview with him in the Hibs Observer, right? If you've not seen it and you're watching, definitely worth going and having a read. This feels like a big season for him. He's talking about the faith that David Gray's had in him over the years. So not just like the recent thing, but while he's been working with him. How big a season do you think this is for Josh Campbell?
I think it's massive. I've never really been a big fan of Josh Campbell, but I'm more than willing to give him another chance. I think I'm probably one of the only fans that wants it to work for McCurdy. So if I wanted to work for McCurdy, I wanted it to work for Josh Campbell as well. But I think you just have to look at his debut when he played that semi-final against Rangers, and he took the game by the scruff of the neck for the majority of the game. So I think it's a massive season for him. And I think if he's in that midfield 4-3, whatever we play, I think because he offers so much to the team, I think if he can just continue to do that on a regular basis consistently, I think it'll be a huge season for him. So I hope Neil's prediction comes true.
Cool. Right, Chase, I'm going to ask you the next one. Simon Murray, says Jeff Ashton, a brilliant foil for Venti if he signs and can also do the hard yards as a lone striker. Not a marquee signing, but sensible until we trim the playing squad. Discuss. So how would you feel about Simon Murray coming back, Chasey?
I know my Lucy would be happy about it.
Yeah.
She was going absolute rage. It was against Aberdeen, and in the programme, they put the staples in the middle of Simon Murray's face or something, and she was going absolutely nuts because she loved him. So yeah, Lucy would be happy. I think he's a good player. He's still got it. He's scoring goals. He's physical. He knows how the league works.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need. And I feel that's what Dave's building. You know, I don't think we're going to have big names coming to us or anything like that. I think Dave's just going to keep it pretty basic, if you know what I mean, in terms of names, but I think they'll do a job for us.
It feels like that's maybe what we need, like a bit of season of just being grounded and having folk who can come in and we didn't need. I'm not going to forgive myself for saying this because it's a thing you go to football to watch. We didn't need all the frills. We need players who just come in and are good at doing what they need to do. Because
Yeah.
that's like what 90% of the successful teams in Scotland have. It's not like one or two players who are absolutely brilliant, but it's a team that functions well. Like if you look at Kelly or St Mirren, who had cracking seasons last season, or even Hearts, although Hearts had Shankland who did well, but really the rest of the team functioned as a good unit round about it. And we had good individual players last season, but we didn't have a good team.
Mhm.
And I think maybe that's what we need this season. John, Brunswick, Bill said the back three of Ekpiteta, O'Hora and Bashiri. I don't know if it would work, but it would scare the shit out of the opposition forwards. How would you feel with that as a back three? And I'm presuming Obita and either Miller or Cadden in the full back positions or wing backs.
And it's one of those things where, yeah, there's a tackle in there with a few of them, and I think it'd be quite tasty at attacking corners as well.
Yes. Looking forward to that.
No, I think that, I mean, you're talking about players and how we go. When we had three forwards scoring nearly 50 goals in a season, we had McGinn, Hanlon, and McGregor at the back, shutting the door. We need to go back to having strong players that shut the door at the back and give players at the top of the pitch the chance to shine.
Totally agree. Let's see if I've got more. Ian Russell, James, I'll come at you. This one. Ian Russell said he'd be happy to be fifth, and then build again. Going to take more than one window to sort out, so just progress would do. How would you feel about that? Like fifth as a season of progress, James?
Well, fifth gets you Europe the way things are at the moment, so definitely grab it with two hands. I mean, I'd even be happy with top six right now. So if we finish fifth, yeah, that'd definitely be progress, something to build on. If you get that settled team and consistency and confidence, go a long way. And as you say, if it takes us into the next window, what January, we can build on again. We can push forward for that fifth place, and it leaves us in a very good place for the following season. I mean, it is long-termism. It's unfortunate that's where we're at. It's not going to solve it this window. We all know that, and it won't probably be fully solved in January.
Kind of need a bit of long-termism at the club. Like I've complained about this before, about the sort of the swithering from one decision to the next and one strategy to the next with a blink of an eye, and it's all very well being sort of reactive and agile and what other words that you want to throw at it, but sometimes you
Don't
need
speak
to
to me
just
about
kind of
agile.
go.
That's what I get all day long, man. I hate that. I hate agile.
Sometimes you just need to believe that what you're doing is
Yeah.
right and
I
focus
think
on
the
it.
fans need to maybe reposition themselves, because I think we're the ones that maybe need to think long-termism. Because yeah, we all want success. We want November to be lifting that cup on a special birthday, you know. So I think we need to kind of think about long-termism as well. But we're fans. We can't do it. We just want.
It's in our
to
nature
win.
to be fickle, isn't it? Like that's.
I'll hold my
that's
hand up. I'm
that's
as bad
fun.
as. Yeah.
We can do it. We can do it.
Okay, aye, totally. we
See,
can.
Tracy
We're gonna
says so.
win the
I'm on
cup.
that bus.
We're going to be in the top six. Dave's going to leave us, not us getting rid of him. Honestly, smashing it.
He'll never leave. He'll build a dynasty. He'll be like Alex Ferguson.
I
He'll
know.
build a dynasty. He'll leave and we'll have a 60,000 seater stadium in his wake. You know, like.
Don't forget the helicopter pad.
I think it's going to be us and Aberdeen competing for third place, right? I think David Gray is a much better coach than Naismith. Naismith, the reason, and we all know the reason why Hearts did better than us. They didn't lose as many games as we did, and they won games really tight games. And of course, Hearts supporters were all mourning because the games were so boring. David Gray's a better coach than Naismith. He's got the same mentality as Naismith, so I think we'll win more games, we'll lose less games, and I think we'll be competing with Aberdeen for third. I think the success of the year ahead is going to be David Gray.
Yeah, take that. Right, last one, Shay. You've got the last comment. It's Gavin Skeen said, "I'm really hopeful Gray can get a tune out of McCurdy this season. Will we see a rejuvenated Harry McCurdy under Sir David Gray this season?"
Fingers crossed. I think he's one of them where I try to adapt to the league. Then it's not worked. Then he's tried to adapt under a really shit manager. So it's like, I'm hoping now David Gray, I like him because he's very honest. But he's willing to tell a player, right, you need to improve on that. Then he'll make them improve. until it's like it actually improves. So I think I'm hoping he gets the best out of all the players, and I think he will. But we're going to see what happens during the season. So we can do. Just hope for the best.
Nice one. Okay, right. We will wrap up there. Just a wee couple of things to note. So, if you are a Hubwave subscriber, we would encourage you to move over to Patreon, right? I'm sure nobody from Hubwave is watching this. I'm on safe ground to say it. We have a wee feeling that they might not be around much longer. So, just to kind of future-proof your subscription, switch over to Patreon, or if you watch on YouTube and never listen to the podcast, you can subscribe on YouTube. There's a wee bit in the YouTube members bit. You click on there, it's £3, I think, for the month, and you'll get all the subscriber content on there, obviously ad-free. And we also launched an ad-free option on Patreon as well, so you don't get the subscriber content, but you do get to listen to all the free stuff without adverts. So if you get annoyed,
we still mention our sponsor, don't we?
Oh, I still mention the sponsor. Aye, that's aye. Fair point, Ian. Pedantic.
Spirits, by the way. Is that Leeds Spirits?
Leeds Spirits, aye. We'll mention Leeds Spirits a lot. Yeah, Leeds Spirits. They're giving us some good prizes coming up as well, Ian. So I don't want to annoy them. So, but it's £1.50 a month, right? So if you get sick of the adverts, if you're watching this, you can also watch on YouTube without the adverts on that option as well, because we share a ad-free link on that point. Other than mentioning our sponsors right at the very start of the episode for a very split second, that's the only one you'll have to hear, right? Or this one as well, because this goes out with adverts. Anyway, right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for coming on. It's been great talking to you. We'll probably be back next week with another